Welcome to the Unfiltered Path podcast, where we explore life's journeys without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, the struggles, and the transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how winding or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, to be moved, to be inspired, and discover that you are not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hey everyone, I am Trinity Baker. I am a mindset coach, the Trinity Baker LLC, and I'm joined here by...
Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade LLC. I'm an aerialist, which is essentially the bird of the circus. And with me is my co-host.
My name is Graham Duval. I am the owner of Valued Productions. We do video marketing, and I'm super excited today because we have our awesome guest with us, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Netto. I'm the owner of Mainly Coaching. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Welcome.
Awesome. Mainly Coaching because you live in Maine and you did a...
It's so funny because when I was trying to come up with the domain names and all of that, I did reserve Mainly with an E, but Mainly Coaching to mainly because what I do is coaching and it's life, business, and relationship coach. So it's actually MAINLY, but you can also reach me at MAINELY coaching, just for people who do think that.
Awesome.
Okay. Listen, no matter what way you want to spell it, we can get a whole...
You can understand. That's right.
That's great for marketing. That's
brilliant. I absolutely
love it.
Our marketing strategist here loves your marketing skills, Karen.
I love it. Well, I've learned a lot from our guru.
Well, I was thinking about trying to figure out how Ariel, like the mermaid jade, can be in my most searched things. So when I kind of get that opportunity to really dive into my website again and kind of like the search engine and all of that, I was actually thinking about that because it happens 9 out of 10 times.
Okay. So, Danielle, when I first met you, I remember being at a BNI meeting and you were like, I'm Danielle with Ariel Jade. Look me up on YouTube. And I looked you up and I literally pulled up Ariel, the mermaid. Okay. So totally get that. If you don't know how to spell Ariel, it's AERIAL. And it's
like an aerial view.
Aerial view. Aerial view. I love that. I love that. Danielle, you want to start us off with a crazy question this morning?
I don't know if it's crazy, so I just picked it, so I don't even know what it was. What is your all-time favorite character from a full-length animated film?
Oh,
man.
Animated. Okay, I just watched the most recent Spider-Man, and they were just doing their thing. It was filmed like I thought I was in a virtual comic. Like the way they filmed it was just brilliant. So I'm just gonna jump and answer because everybody's like, "Oh my god, let me think."
I know.
What is that? That Spider-Verse vibe has me. I think kind of abstract. So I actually feel like these things are totally feasible. And the more we expand to see life in that way, the more we can. Well, and I'm kind of am like Spider-Man. I'm like Gwen. Yeah, Gwen. I'm definitely Gwen on this planet Earth experience. So I am. I'm going to say that. How about you, Trinity? I feel like you got one. You got a son.
it's hard. I'm trying to remember. There's a movie. The movie is about like our emotions, and it's like this thing, and it emotion like bubble like sadness and happy, and they like pre-fill the emotion.
Funny. You said that. That was literally the first thought that crossed my mind too, but then I couldn't remember the name of it.
Okay. I'm gonna say it about. I'm gonna Google what it is so we know.
But they each of the characters have their own emotion, like it's angry, sad, whatever. And I think there's a new Disney one that's coming out that's called Wish that's something similar around it too. So I can't wait to see that one.
I love it.
My kids have brought that up.
it like pre-fills the emotion. So it shows you like you can change your emotion. Like they take out the madness bubble and they put in the happy little marble bubble thing. I'm going to look it up. Hold on.
You guys would love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mindset. I feel like you guys are like really close to like self-hypnosis experts. And I think that that's how I view you guys. The more I spend time with life coaches, or I've literally watched Trinity transform into it. And what a like honorable, cool thing. But that's kind of how I see you guys. Like I'm like, like teaching people how to hypnotize their mind. Because a lot of times it's like literally reprogramming. Like, no, stop thinking that. Explain me this way. No. And I just wanted to say that. It kind of feels like that's where you guys are. It's funny you just said that movie and it was just like...
Yeah, it was literally the first one that had come to my mind when you said that. I was like, oh, I don't remember the name of it. I can't use that one. It's Pocahontas was the one that I was like, well, Pocahontas. I love her strength and Thanksgiving time. So that was the second one that came up to mind.
Yeah.
Honest, I haven't
That's so cool.
It's called Inside Out.
Yes. That makes sense. Oh, that's such a life coach thing of you guys to do. And the aerialistic Spider-Man. What about you? Well, Spider-Verse, let me be clear.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse series just has me smitten. What about you, Graham?
Yeah, so I'm sure there's other ones that come to mind, but I went with my first like initial spark, like what came to my head from that, and for me, it's gonna have to be Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles.
Oh wow, that's an old classic. I love it. Oh my gosh, I don't think I would have thought of that. And they just redid that one not that long ago.
Yeah. I haven't either. I'm classic Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. This first one came to mind. I can identify with him a lot.
Yeah, I could totally see that. So here's a question on that topic of movies and especially animated ones, Danielle. I love that question. Is as busy entrepreneurs, where do you even find the time to watch an animated movie?
Because I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Thing like
I don't know. Yeah, no, it's because I'm a mom, but I think my kids have Ninja Turtle figurines because I need them in the house. That's great.
Yeah, I think that oftentimes that's how I think my daughter and I like our quiet time. So I feel like that's our quiet time at evening where we'll spend usually, this time of year, it tends to be the holiday movies or whatever. So yeah, usually we'll watch a movie before bed. That will be our downtime, especially with being on the go so much. Like we all need that for our mental health of just sometimes unchecking from all of it and just spending that alone time.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like I've talked with I have some mentors and some coaches and they're always like talking about how like place your Netflix with your educations and your podcasts and your master classes and all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta have at least like an hour a day. I don't care if it's a Netflix or a movie, but like I need to like mindless something to watch. You know what I mean? Because so often I'm like filling my mind with just like education and growth and all this stuff. But like putting on a Netflix or like something that I'm into, a movie, whatever, I don't have to think. I don't have to,
It's hard to be on all the time. Like when you're an entrepreneur and it's go, 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 literally from the moment you open your eyes, you're like, okay, what's on my schedule today? And what do I have to do? I mean, it's literally nonstop throughout the day. So yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Graham. Having that time where you just don't have to think for a period of time is critical because that's how we kind of have our opportunity to recharge our batteries, right? Like
most definitely. And I still have like my times of like meditation and prayer and yoga and stuff, but like that's a different type of like mindless, mindful kind of vibe. But like watching a movie or a show or something, that's just like pure like just enjoyment, relax, not do anything. I'm not thinking about whatever, you know what I mean?
I love that. I just had a coaching at 9:30 right before this call, and we were talking about the mindless activities. And he had like a huge a huge reflection on our time working together was, he said, my mindless activities used to be scrolling. It used to be that like almost like negative impact, mindless stuff. He's like, I watch a movie with my wife, or I read, a book that's not personal development book.
Yeah.
It's so important to have that mindless. You got to shut off, because listen, Karen, you hit it on the head. Like the minute we wake up, we're thinking, as entrepreneurs, we are thinking about our day, what we get to do. There are some days that I literally dream about that stuff.
I was just about to say that. Like sometimes even when sleeping, it's going through my head.
Yeah.
Always something that movies and books, I'm glad you said that are not self-help or in your wheel. Like I'm not going to go read like a fitness book or, what it's also applying is a lot of times it's our artistic expression, or it's our ability to think outside. It's our, so a lot of times I don't even, so my thing is not finding time to watch movies. What movies do I actually watch? Because let me be clear, like I'm like somewhere else. I can work on another realm, on another planet, get shit done, and then make it happen here. That's like literally how my mind works. And so a lot of times, like I get so inspired by movies in my own perception of what I'm experiencing that a lot of times I lose myself with the movie. So it's not so much finding time. I'm great at being.
That's great. That's good. That's a good habit. Talking about books, Trinity, I did just finish that book.
The Surrender
and Graham, Surrender Experiment. And Graham just mentioned meditation. So I have not, like, I try to embrace meditation. I struggle so much, and that book kind of helps put that perception back into my mind as far as like turning off that inner voice, and that it's next to impossible to do, but how we can do it. So I'm curious to kind of hear what your thoughts are as far as if all of you meditate as well. And Graham mentioned he did, but kind of what your go-to has been.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I think we talked about this last week too, or I just mix conversations in my brain. For the longest time, my coach, for literally 4 years, like I was that horrible coaching client that wouldn't listen to my coach for 4 years in a row here. She was like, you need to meditate. You need to meditate. And I'm like, listen, you think sitting on a mat with my eyes closed, falling asleep for 20 minutes is productive? It's not productive. And because I had like this just talks about like our limiting mindsets. I had this picture in my brain that I had to do it a certain way. And one day was I downloaded this app. It's called the Insight Timer. And what I realized was like, they're like 2-minute meditations.
Definitely.
They're all different. They're different topics. They're different experiences. Some of them are guided. Some of them are put you to sleep. Some of them are wake you up. Like I had such a limiting mindset that meditation had to be a certain way. And that's why I fought it for 4 freaking years. And then the second that I realized that it could be whatever way I wanted to make it, I meditate over an hour every single day.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
For me, meditation is a relationship with breath and the simplicity in that sentence. So what happens is we are in like, a matrix. We do this, we're programmed, we know this, we self-program, we know this. By just sitting down, and it's 30 breaths in sets of 3, these things not only, when you can surrender to that many, oh my God, sometimes I can't even get to the third 30 seconds. Let's be real. But that's when intuition sets in. That's when that real insight sets in. But it only can be when you surrender to the fact that you're just as beautiful as a breath. And that's just all that needs to be needed. And it's a lot. I don't do it every day. It's not perfect, but it is just that simple. It is just like identifying with just being alive is enough. You're not a mom. You're not an entrepreneur. You're not every bad thing that ever happened to you. And then it gives you power that you controlled your mind for 30 breaths. This in your little computer freaking thing happening up there. I run shit and God and this breath I got.
I love that.
So that's what meditation is, in my opinion. And soothing and coping is all the other things.
I love that.
Raw meditation is just you and that breath and the power of getting on track no matter how many times the mind goes whoop. And it's that surrender, control, kind of like balance. That's the one time you can truly authentically feel balance. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's just my thought.
and you know, like you had mentioned, Trinity, the misperception that it has to be a certain way. Like there's moving meditations too. And that's what I do a lot of, like through yoga, and then like continued to stay sitting a little bit towards the end. But another one that I've found cool sometimes is shower meditations. Like they have YouTube, you type in shower meditation, and it's about like you listen to it in the shower, and it's like thinking about the water washing away like all the stress and all that stuff, and like you're awake, you know what I mean? Like you actually got to do what you got to do in the shower, but like, you know, it's still a moving meditation, you know.
I was just mad. I was just like, I came kicking and screaming.
Programmed to be like that. That's what's frustrating for me. Is my kids call it out all the time. Well, God and source and Jesus, all these questions of them. Why do they put poisonous food in the grocery store? And I don't know how to answer that all the time. Like, it's just like, it's because we're in the reality of choice. That's the only way I can rationalize it to my children, but they're the ones that highlight that concept for me. It's very, anger came first in my faith journey. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Actually, I remember when I was 12 and I realized what racism was. And that was the first time I didn't want to be on earth. I was like, oh, I don't get it. You just kill people? Like, what? And then war, and then like, you know, but then I found John Lennon and Bob Marley, and they kind of helped me like balance some things out. I remember that was the first time. And then when, you know, faith and cleaning up my own act came,
Yeah.
there was another set of anger, like, wow, we're really in this like matrix together, this like place of choice. And so I'm with you. But look at us, we're very extreme people in what we do. And it's because we came from that kind of story, right? Like,
Yeah, my limiting belief on faith until literally probably 2 years ago. So when I was 29, it took 29 years for me to come out of this belief that people who had this strong spiritual belief were bad people, because that's what was demonstrated for me for many years of my life. So I was anti-God. I was anti-belief in anything. So what started that journey for me was universe. A lot of meditation and everything connects me to the universe. And so then I could believe that there was a higher power, and then it transitioned to God. And I'll tell you, the moment that happened was when I was in a deep depression, and therapy couldn't see me. Medication was going to take months. And I swear, I heard a voice say, find a way out of this and teach others to do it. And I was like, okay, well, the universe doesn't talk. So I was very confused, but I took that as an opportunity to learn. And I think that so many of us miss those opportunities to learn.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Real arts for me saved me that last step of drug addiction. So it gave me that self-purpose, and it was a similar calling, like learn this and teach. I became teaching shortly after, and I've been relatively transparent with my story. And I've had people come up to me and say, hey, just, you know, I went through XYZ too, or this has helped me through this. And so I had that same kind of voice. And so that definitely kind of instills that foundation of faith for sure, is knowing that calling, you know, understanding what that voice was, and that everybody kind of has that space and that oneness, right? When you realize you're not alone. And then that's kind of what really like holds your hand to faith, is when you're like, oh, I'm not alone. This is like universal. This is collective. This is, you know, I'm one with everybody else. That was part of my journey as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, just to both of your points about, you know, educating and learning, you know, I always encourage people to, you know, like I was just talking to somebody not long ago, and I was like, you know, I'm not trying to convert you, because I'm not into that. All I encourage people to do is make an educated decision. I think a lot of people, you know, like I did, like my mother she grew up in church, and she was like, if this is God, I don't want nothing of it. And she went off the rails and went into craziness, you know, and now she's back, but not with what she grew up with, obviously. But, you know, like, you know, I think if you make an educated decision, there's enough out there. I'm like confident in the education of the facts and the evidence, not, and just talk, like I said, you could talk about what you believe, and well, I believe something different, but why do you believe what you believe? That's what I'm always encouraging people towards. And yeah.
Most definitely. I like that thought of why, because if you really look at it, like all these different faiths and belief in some sort of higher power, there really is like a lot of underlying connection between everything. And if there's something that draws you to a certain thing, educated decision to the way, the reason, things like that, it is just a much more solidified place of being. And like I said, they're all very much similar in their underlying faith, love, things like that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like the book The Secret was one of my first like books that I picked up and listened to, and movies I watched about the higher connection, right? Like God is never spoken about in the book, but so many Bible verses are in that teaching. And so I agree. Like, I really think that God uses so many ways to get to the people who would not believe if there wasn't like an initial step, like believing the universe, like The Secret never mentions God, but that literally was like one of my first introductions to a higher power.
Yes, I call them stepping stones.
Stepping stones, yeah. And like, it's totally okay to just stay at a stepping stone. Like, I think that he is okay if you stay at a stepping stone. And eventually, I do believe that within messages in life and just the way things work, you will come to that realization that he's there and he's with you. Because, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine life now not knowing that I'm not alone. Like you said, Danielle, like, there are so many days that I'm like, oh my goodness, how can I do this? And then instantly, like, I'm not doing this. He's doing this. And if it's meant to be, it'll be. And then that like releases so much stress off of me. Graham, I know that you have a lot of practices, like your morning routines and stuff with meditation, yoga. Talk a little bit about that, because I know that you're really strong in that.
Yeah. No, I mean, that to me, what you just said of like, I mean, it's like the letting go. And we are all love, and then acceptance in that what is, because all I do on a daily basis is just everything that is in front of me that I can do to the best of my ability to meet, but where my serenity level and everything that comes after that is my ability to accept life on life's terms of like what is at that moment. You know what I mean? If like I do something that's in front of me, whether that's, hanging with my family or business or whatever, and then whatever happens, if I'm like pissed that the way the situation is or like trying to control it or something, then I'm not accepting that situation as it is. And that's when my serenity level goes down. And then I'm like not connected to God. I'm not like living in the moment. But if I am just being and doing, and whatever happens, and I let go to that surrender, then, that's when my acceptance is solid and my serenity level's up, things flow much better. And that's kind of how I'm at with a lot of that. And then like all of that is being guided by, God, because God speaks through people, and like, that's where it comes from, so.
I think recognizing that I'm a spirit and an avatar was pretty pivotal for me. That this is an earthly experience, but I am so much more along with everybody else. And that was pivotal for me in like, having that foundation of my like facts of like what makes logical sense to me. It was that kind of information. Because I had things that would happen to my body, right, that were outside of my control. So I gained power in realizing I was a spirit in an avatar, an earthly experience, and it was just an experience. And I'm not what my experiences are, right? I'm the viewer of the experiences. I'm the soul, right? So I'm not even the experience itself. I'm not what's happened to me ever, the good or the bad. right? So I'm perceiving the experience, and that is my factual foundation.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'm reading a book, and there was a statistic in the book that I read yesterday. We only recognize 10% of what is going on around us.
I know, isn't that insane?
Yeah, and then our beliefs is what determines what we recognize. So if you can filter and alter and work on, personal development, it's all personal development, altering those beliefs, like you said, like realizing that we are spirit, we are just this entity, we are not our body, we're not our experiences, we're not our past, we're not that, we are just us. Then we can actually perceive what we're meant to perceive. That 10% can be so much more quality, so much more quality.
It's cool knowing that we can also map out, right? So it's a co-creation kind of agreement, right? So our mind is like a programming system. And so knowing that I do have that power to reroute my mind and to, transition it and evolve within that. And then knowing that there's so much more. So I'm an artist, right? So in my mind, I go to a different realm. I think of something, I make it, create it, and I come back here and I do it, right? So that's kind of like what creativity is, or daydreaming or whatever people see it as. So the 10%. So there's so much we don't know about. So if that wasn't, so then I know I'm really going to find something that we can't see, that, that idea, that invention, because it's proven. We only conceive 10%. So there's so much to imagine and create still left to do. There's so much work to still do as a species. So, that's such an empowering percentage and kind of statement.
And I think that the people who don't see it as that are the 86% of America that's unhappy.
Comes down a lot to faith too, like what you were talking about, Danielle, about like where that like realm is, and like being able to recognize that it's like, okay, you have faith that like this is, I have that ability to do that through that connection, and that's where you can be guided through a lot of that is just in faith. But yeah, man, I'm loving this conversation for sure.
Trinity had gone on her event, and the only question I had was, who was your favorite girl you met? So I thought we could maybe talk about her real quick.
Oh man, honestly, there are so many. I
would like one that stuck out to you, and you told me her story from the convention. Not to put you on the spot, and then you too, Anthony. Like, who's your favorite kind of like a survivor or a moment or experience within that? Right, it's pretty severe. What was like a glimmer of like sparkle, like a great, wonderful moment?
You know what? I'll tell you the biggest thing that I took away from those women, because I'm telling you that event, I think they taught me more than I taught them. I think that they would all disagree, but like, I really felt like that was a pivotal point in my belief, my connection. I mean, I remember hiking, we're in Colorado. I remember hiking this mountain called Bible Point and getting to the top, and I cried. Like, I could not stop crying. It was like this just sense of like, holy moly, I am exactly where I need to be right now. I'll tell you what is so impactful with the women, the survivors of human trafficking, is their resilience is like nothing I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, literally, I hope and I pray that I could have 10% of their resilience, because these women, after everything they've been through, and I say literally torture, mentally, physically, everything for 10, 20, 30 years, they're wanting personal development. Like, they're getting themselves to growing. And I'm like, I know people who haven't had any trauma and have actually had a pretty blessed life who aren't willing to commit themselves to personal development. Yet these women are here saying, I've been through absolute hell for years and I want more for myself. It was really eye-opening. It was really eye-opening, our strength. And I'll tell you, every single, on the spiritual belief conversation, every single one of those women pray God. They pray all day, and It was incredible.
He's touched on so far of like getting to that point where it's like, okay, it's still replicating, still making money. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to sustain, but like it's doing its thing with the people, with the equipment, with the processes, but I don't necessarily have to be directly there in the middle of it. You know what I mean? And it goes right back to like what you were saying, Danielle, is like, I feel the same way. When I go to film someone or like working with a client, I don't even consider it working. You know, I'm like, how am I getting paid to do what I do? It just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, I love what I do and I'm still going to do it. But in the end, it still is like what you were saying, Rodney. I want it to be that like thing that is doing its thing. So I can do a side project film thing it may not necessarily be as lucrative as something else that is actually for the business. It's, you know, that freedom. It really does come down to that freedom.
Here's another thing for me personally, and I know Danielle is gonna nod on this one here is, and Trinity as well. I assume we want to build something, or at least, you know, I won't speak for myself here. I want to build something because I have a wife of 30 years. My bride, we celebrated 30. We're 30 years plus at this point, right? Yay! She put up with me for that long. I don't know how, but she did it. So 30 years. You know, two daughters. You know, little pooch. She's a girl as well. So I'm surrounded by ladies, which is always nice. If I'm gone, not if, but when I am gone, right? I want to have something that I can pass down to them, whether they want to do it or not. That's entirely up to them. But I wanted something that is going to provide, especially for my wife, right? We've lived this journey for 3 decades plus. She's been a stay-at-home mom. We've always lived well below our means to provide for that. So, you know, my goal is, especially in this entrepreneurial side of things, is, right, the checks don't come, right, if I'm not working, yeah, right, whatever working looks like, but if I'm not out there making it happen, but then if I'm not here, right, guys and gals, who's going to do it then? So I want to scale this thing up. I want to jump that Grand Canyon as fast as I can, because I've always been very intentional about, I want to and always have surrounded myself, which this is going to be a low bar, with people smarter than myself, right? I'm going to say way smarter than me. I'm never the smartest person in the room. Maybe if I'm by myself, and that's a maybe at that point. But I want to surround myself with people that get it, that's going to work hard, be intentional about what they're doing, and then, especially with my own business, is going to feel the passion that I feel. So if I'm not there, right, on a positive note, I'm on the beach or I'm doing what I'm doing, it's going to continue to run and going to mainly continue to provide the life that I want to provide for my family.
Yeah, you make a really good point. Like, not even just as business owners, but in life in general. I love the, like, I'm never the smartest person in the room, because it's like, we have to be so intentional with that. The first thing I do when I take on a new client, we do a discovery call. One of the questions I ask is like, who are the people around you? We have to identify the people around us at all times. We should know this. The people around us, what they're providing to us and what we're providing to them. And we have to be good at recognizing when that is off. And when that is off, it's a fix it or ditch it. And I say that with all love, in the most loving thing in the entire world, because I realize that these people are family and friends. But Danielle, we've had this conversation before of like, just because you're family doesn't mean I need to talk to you every day. I will see you, talk to you once a month. We will do our family. I love you, blah, blah, blah. But those people who do not serve you and you do not serve them, when you're on different levels, we have to recognize you're on different levels.
I think something that Rodney said about leaving something for, you know, his wife, I think of it as a little bit more about, you provided an example for your daughter to be a lawyer, if I'm being honest. So you're already successful. So that's kind of thing. What I'm doing is I'm providing and showing an unpassed, unfiltered way through life that so they think their own things are possible. Right. And creating that that path. And much like, leading your clients with, a new mindset, it's really like showing people a new path, our path, and that it's possible in their own way.
In every way, literally every way, whether it be you're teaching our kids that you can own your own business or teaching your kids self-worth so that they, find the people in their lives that meet them, or teaching them to find the skills that make them enjoy life. Like you can go get a job, a career that provides you the happiness that we're seeing in our businesses. You don't necessarily have to be a business owner, right? But I think what I'm teaching my kiddo is that I don't care what you want to be and what you want to do. The point is that it's happy and it's providing for you. I want him to be happy and not spend those 10, 20, 30 years in unhappy corporate America to figure that out. Like if I could just teach him this now and that's the only thing he gets from me, I will be so happy about that.
Sure.
What I've told my girls for years is, and now they're plenty old enough to understand it, and and I've missed a lot of stuff. I mean, and being in the military, and then being in corporate America, which sometimes I wonder which one's more wants more out of you. Jesus.
I thought that when you said it. So when you said I was in the military, there was corporate America, my mind literally went, oh, the same thing. All right.
Hey, Danielle, hey, let me tell you something, girl. Corporate America probably sucked more out of my life than the military did. It's awful, man. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into in the military. You're like, okay, here it is.
Real customer service places, they teach you a mental game, but they don't teach you how to do it for yourself, right? So American Express is incredible. I feel honored that I was trained under their structure, but it only gave me the confidence to do it for myself, because a lot of it is like very much military training, especially the mental, and I don't want to use the word manipulating, but it kind of fits the box. Like I don't know how to explain that. To guide individuals to do as you please them to do. Well,
I love that. That's like what I try to do all the time with videos.
And I'm positive you have a positive intent.
Most definitely.
Express does too, right? Like they even I'm not insulting that brand at all. Actually, it was probably my favorite of all my corporate jobs. But what I mean is it was very intentional thinking, and to be taught those skills in such a way that like wasn't even taught in like a school setting or to benefit for myself is where it's kind of funny. Like,
I was one of my first nursing jobs, and this is not even just corporate America, right? Because I wouldn't considering like the nursing career like corporate America. I think they have a lot of similar structures in a way.
I think it's the same thing.
It is the same thing, yes. One of my first nursing jobs, literally, I remember them telling me, you can be successful if you stay here. And I was like, wow, I don't know. I want to be here for 50 more years. Like, I don't think I want to walk into this place 5 days a week for 50 years. And so some of them will literally come out and tell you, you cannot be successful if you're not here with us. And if you don't know or don't have the confidence and the strength and resilience to say, hell no, you're there for 50 years.
Oh, I was just going to make a joke about how that's a sign of bad dating too. When they're like, oh, you can't be anywhere else but here. Like, I'm the only man that's going to love you as XYZ. That's usually what it's like. I'm going to flag.
No, I know what that's called because my girl, that's called gaslighting. Now,
I didn't know what that was when I was like younger.
We have raised our girls collectively to be very strong personalities. Of course, now all that's coming back on me because they're girl bossing all over the place. And no, Dad, that's, you can't say that. You can't sound like you.
Girl bossing everywhere.
Everywhere. So I got two things. One, so Daniel, what you described is funny because, Trinity and I were just talking about this earlier, is corporate America does an amazing job And one of the companies that I worked for, I would say they were world class. It sounds like maybe American Express was world class at this. They'll basically gaslight you. You just don't know you're being gaslit. That the reason you are where you are, the reason you make as much money as you make, the reason you're successful, right? American quoting here, whatever success looks like, is because you work for fill in the blank company. And the really good ones have a lot. I mean, they're like, our tenure with people is 20 years. So now, my mindset now is you have gaslit the shit out of these people for 20 years, right? You have convinced them that the only reason they could do what they do is because of you as a company. Knowing, like I use the Fortune 500 as a great example. So one of the companies I work for is a Fortune 500 company. They just thought that was the best thing ever. And, but they had told you that you would only be successful in a, very low key, like I said, gaslighting kind of way. There's 499 other companies on the Fortune 500, right? This is not Bracer. It's just simple math. You're one company of 500. So there's at least 499 other companies that are as good as you, right? Unless you're Fortune 1, but there's still 499 others that, rank up against you. So, they do a real good job, and Trinity used the word of kind of infecting you with this disease. You won't be as good. Daniel, to your point, the man's telling you you'll never be worth anything if you ever leave me. It's the same thing. It's a bad date, except it turns into a 20-year, 30-year, 40, 50-year marriage. And before you know it, you're like, Judas Priest, man, my entire life just went away. I'm retired. I thought I was going to get a gold watch. I got a, I got a sundial, and I don't know what happened. So here's what I've told my girls is, and I've told a lot of people this. If you want to know if you're in the right spot and you're going to be happy, when you go to bed Sunday evening, if you don't dread waking up Monday because you're going to have to go into X, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. That comes right back around to like what you were saying, Danielle, about, working. It's the same thing. Like, I don't feel like I get paid to go to work. It's fun, That's a similar vibe.
I don't know what I get paid.
Yeah, do what you love,
Yeah.
And if you can take the time and look deep and be like, I really do love being here, and you're in a corporate job or whatever, and like you said, Rodney, you're like, okay, I don't dread going to work Monday morning, and I really do enjoy what I do, then, like you said, you're doing something right, But if you're kidding yourself and there's some sort of like lying to yourself and you're like, I love what I do, but there's that little bit of like dread going in Monday morning, you may want to take another look at what's going on. And hopefully some of these insights will help guide that.
For sure. Oh, this was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being our guest here today. Remind us who you are and what you do.
Where we can find you online.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rodney Tilson with My Energy Doctors. You can just simply go to the great World Wide Web at myenergydoctors with an S, all one word.com, and you'll land on our page. And there's a little information thing where you can just say, hey, give me a call, and I'll give you a call. So, yeah, and I will help you save money on your power and natural gas.
I appreciate you joining us here today, Rodney. For all our listeners, definitely go check them out online. My name is Graham Duval, owner of Valued Productions. You can find me online, all the major social platforms at Valued Productions, VALUD Productions, all one word, and .com. I'd love to connect with anybody looking to grow their business with video. And I'm joined here with my wonderful co-host.
Hey everyone, Trinity Baker, Mindset Coach. You can find me on my website, which is www.thetrinitybaker.com. But I am also on all of the major social media platforms as well. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I post some inspiring, motivating videos. That is something that I love to do. Just spread a little bit of positivity. And you can find me at The Trinity Baker. And I am joined here with the beautiful
Danielle Hirsch. I am the owner of Ariel Jade. I am on most social media platforms, either Ariel Jade or Ariel Jade Art, as I am too an artist. In fact, I identify with that the most, but I am an aerialist. ArielJade.com is the best way to reach me, though, as we can live chat. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the Unfiltered Path podcast with myself, Trinity, and Graham, and we look forward to hearing and seeing from you guys next week.